How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Play by Play podcast today, and welcome to the bonus episode where today we will be looking at yesterday's performance of Bo Nix in his preseason win against the Green Bay Packers, 27-2 in favor of the Denver Broncos, and explaining why Bo Nix might actually be able to break the Denver Broncos' first round quarterback curse and be their starting quarterback for 5, 10, potentially 15 years to come. What am I talking about? Commentary of Bo Nix starts right now. Now, in their near 65 years of existence, the Denver Broncos have drafted a total of 5 quarterbacks in the first round. Starts with Tommy Maddox in 1992. Now, if you remember, the Denver Broncos did not actually draft John Elway when he was drafted in 1983. Originally, Elway was drafted by the Colts, completely refused to play with them, and then ended up getting traded for Kendall Hinton, a all-pro guard, I believe. They got him in a trade, and he was their franchise quarterback. But starting in 1992, Maddox was surprisingly drafted as the Broncos' first ever first-round quarterback in franchise history. The pick was made mainly due to the rocky relationship between John Elway and current coach at the time, Dan Reeves, who, after a strained relationship with his quarterback, was looking for someone who could replace him. Maddox would only start 4 games for Denver, losing every game before bouncing around the NFL and, at the time, the XFL. At his best, he found a 2-year starting job in Pittsburgh, where he recorded equal interception and touchdown numbers, as well as a 13-13 starting record. Following that, it would take another 14 years until the Broncos finally drafted their next quarterback, trading for Jay Cutler in 2006. It was another pick that was highly controversial and very confusing, especially when you put in the fact that the Broncos had previously made the AFC Championship with veteran Jake Plummer. Even more confusingly, after Plummer posted a solid 7-4 record in 2006, he was benched in favor of Cutler, who had posted a 17-20 regular season record in his first 3 years with Denver, making the Pro Bowl in his final year with Denver as a reserve before being traded. Following that, you have Tim Tebow in 2010. Now, following Cutler's departure, the Broncos would look to experiment with veteran Cal Orton, who would go 4-12 in his first season with the team in 2009, and Orton would follow it up with an 8-8 record in Tebow's rookie year. Tebow was picked towards the end of the first round and was an enormous character coming out of college after winning the previous year's Heisman and 2 national championships with the Florida Gators. Tebow would get his first starting opportunity in Week 5 against the Dolphins, where he would get a dramatic win in overtime. He would go on to win 3 more overtime games that season, the most infamous being his wildcard victory against Pittsburgh by completing an 80-yard pass to Demaryius Thomas on the first play of overtime. Following that, Tebow would get eaten alive by Tom Brady-led Patriots in the divisional round and would be traded after Denver signed veteran quarterback Peyton Manning, and his hype would immediately die and he would never get another starting opportunity in the league. And finally, in 2015, the Broncos would draft relatively unknown quarterback Paxton Lynch at the end of the first round. It was a draft that at the time was mostly highlighted by Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, and there wasn't really a third-man quarterback in there. Denver was looking for their Peyton Manning replacement, trying to capitalize on an aging but still very talented roster. Lynch would only go on to start 4 games for Denver, going 1-3 and throwing 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions before being released by the Broncos. And finally, now in current time, 9 years later, the Denver Broncos have tried again with their quarterback luck by taking Bo Nix surprisingly at pick 12 in the 2024 draft. In the past 2 games, we have seen a lot of great plays from Bo Nix in this Denver offense. And there are a lot of people that are really, really excited. There are other people who are a little bit on the fence of it. Now, I get it. Bo Nix in the Sean Payton offense isn't pretty. It's not exciting. You don't take time to really develop plays down the field and take huge shots. But that's not how it's meant to be. He is meant to always look at his first read and throw the ball immediately. It was a huge problem that we saw with Denver last year with Russell Wilson, who would simply wait way too long to get the ball out, waiting for plays to develop. And once there was nothing there, he had nowhere to go. And so he either had to throw the ball away, take a sack, or go for a 1 or 2 yard rush. That is not what we are seeing from Bo Nix. He is seeing the first open man, launching it with the solid arm that he has, zipping it there and getting it right away. And what he's doing is putting together really solid, long, but very solid scoring drives, especially doing short passes in the flats when they're at the goal line, which is a place that Denver has really, really struggled in their 2 years with Russell Wilson, was in that red zone area and finishing scoring drives. You saw Sean Payton in the middle of that second quarter right before Bo Nix threw his touchdown of the day. He could not even contain his smile. He was really, really happy with what he saw from the rookie quarterback. And that's the kind of relationship, like we saw with Sean Payton and Drew Brees in New Orleans, that Denver is going to need if they want this Sean Payton experiment to work out, if they want the coach who they traded value for to work out and lead them to a Super Bowl. And we cannot forget that this Denver offense is still pretty solid. Sure, they have lost a couple of pieces. They lost Noah Fant. They lost Jerry Jeudy this past offseason. Some of the offensive line, like Lloyd Cushenberry, left this past offseason. But you still have Quinn Miners, somebody who will definitely look to be an all-pro guard for the rest of his career. You have Mike McGlinchey on the right side, not a great pass blocker, but a tremendous run blocker. On the left, you have Garrett Bowles, who just posted the best season of his career. And on the outside, you have Courtland Sutton, who just had the best season of his career, establishing himself as a number one wide receiver. You have Marvin Mims, an absolute thumper with the speed that he has, both in the slot and on returns. And Tim Patrick has been showing a lot for being off for the past 2 years, dealing with knee injuries. He is going to be a huge, huge piece of what pushes this Broncos offense forward, because they really did not have a really great second option behind Courtland Sutton to go to, with Jerry Jeudy lagging behind, either being due to injury or when it comes to just simply not producing. So they have pieces in line for Nix to be successful. Nix, it's not pretty. It takes a very long time to get down the field. But 8 for 9 passing, I believe, over 100 yards and a touchdown. He's only had one drive that has turned out to not be a scoring drive. That is great. He looks very, very composed. He doesn't freak out when pressure pushes in, which is not that often because this Denver offensive line has actually looked pretty solid during the preseason. He stayed composed. He launches the ball with a zip. And even when he makes bad decisions, normally it's just him making rookie mistakes that you'd like to see, like forcing the ball. Maybe sometimes he hangs onto the ball a little bit long, a play or two, and takes a sack. But those will get fixed. He will be molded into that Drew Brees type of quarterback, making the smart, short plays. And he is somebody that is so structured and has so much experience, being 23, 24 years old, being a 4-year guy out of college, competing in the best version of the Pac-12 that we've seen in the SEC, that he will be able to translate his game right away and be in that starting spot. I like Jarrett Stidham. I like what I've seen from Zach Wilson so far in the preseason, but there's no doubt, if you drafted this man at 12, if he is showing you great performance in the preseason, if he is doing well in training camp, he needs to be your starter. And I think that he's the guy that could lead this team and finally break the curse that we've seen of the first-round quarterbacks that Denver has had. Let me know what you guys think about Bo Nix. What do you think about his recent performances? Do you think he should start the season week 1 in Denver? We'll have to see what Sean Payton thinks. If you haven't already, if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a like down below, subscribe, leave a comment, and share with all your friends. If you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, please feel free to follow us on all social medias where you can get notified whenever we post, where you can see clips from the pod and these bonus episodes, as well as see my latest reactions to breaking news. There will be a quick bar popping up right here to all the ads for our Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Go ahead and follow those down below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video again. Let me know your thoughts about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Have they found the man that will break their curse? We're going to have to see. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.